Welcome to a behind the scenes at 12 Scholars with me, Bob Buckley. And I want to share a bit about the printed journal and the genesis of how we came about with the 12 Scholars journal and the current format and how it kind of looks on the inside. So to better explain that, we go back about 10 years where I had this crazy idea of producing the definitive guide to personal development. And I wanted to use all the tools and techniques that I've come across in world-class manufacturing and some of the great clients I've worked with. And if we could just pull them together in one guide, in one bite-sized guide that we could help people with, the thought was that we could improve and help make things simple by getting everybody using the same language, using the same tools. Because sometimes what you get taught on your typical project management class, they're very rote, they're quite theoretical, but they don't really work in practice. So what I wanted to do was pull something together that could actually be useful to people and that I know works because I've got tried and tested evidence, and it just works when you're out there dealing with clients, projects, meetings, with people, trying to bring people on. So I had this idea about personal development, and it wasn't so much leadership then, it was all about personal development. But for businesses to grow, people need to grow. So if you could provide better, if you could improve your talent pool, then naturally your business would grow. So hence the leadership side. And started jotting some ideas down about what this personal development would look like. And I wanted to kind of have some kind of publication. So here's some kind of early drafts of covers of what 12 Scholars would look like. We had this kind of excellence, very much inspired by Tom Peters, trying to aim for the high. And this one, and this is EGSP many years ago. So these were kind of some of the concepts. Would it look as a small guide? Would it be a little pamphlet size? Or would it be something a bit more, bookish? And I wasn't too sure until about 2.5 years ago, in the summer of 2018, I stumbled across a particular magazine that came through the post, and it was called Brand B. And here we go. This is Brand B, and it's a publication that here we are. It's a publication that's all about brands, and for those people who know me, they'll note I'm quite obsessed about brands. And in here, what they'll do is they'll take one particular brand, in this case Porsche, or we've got in this one Patagonia, and they'll do a deep dive on that one brand. So it's very much like a bit of a book about a case study. You're looking at the history of the brand. They'll interview people. They'll tell some kind of stories in here. So let's just have a look at this. So within here, we'll open it up, and there's quite some nice introductory photography. And as we get through, you've got a bit of an editor's letter, and then inside you've got this beautifully curated and created publication that's kind of half editorial and half photojournalism. So that's just one of them. This one, we've got Lego, and I think everybody's favourite with Lego. And again, very very similar format at the front. We've got the photography going in, bit of storytelling, and then inside we've got some features, some interviews with people, and talking about a bit about the history of the brand. So that was Brand B, and in here it's you can obviously tell there's some wonderful photography in here. And the editorial is very good as well. This is actually produced in Korea, in South Korea, produced in 2 languages, in Korean and English, and costs around about $20, $30 to buy, and then about the same again to ship. So they don't come cheap. But when you get them and you start, there's even more brands. We've got IKEA here. When you get them, and there's another one, a famous one here, Rafa, the cycling branding, each one becomes a collectible item in its own right and becomes the definitive guide. And if you put them on a bookshelf, you'll see how the spines all line up beautifully with the brand B. We've got the brands here. We've got the publisher details, some nice little details down the side here. On the reverse, a bit of description about what the brand is. So it's a beautiful kind of publication. And when we came across this brand B, I thought that's what 12 Scholars has to be. So it's this definitive guide to personal development. And if we could take the ideas, the top tips, the tools, the techniques, and put it into the journal, or put it into something that looked like this, then that would be a premium product that I think people would respect, would look up to, and there could be some powerful things in there. So that's a bit about the genesis. But how do you get from this to that? Well, we're going to save that for another video in terms of the prototyping and the prototyping story. But what I'd just share for those who haven't seen on the inside is we've got these two journals here. So this is now the 12 Scholars printed journal. And we have book 1, which is Be Proactive. And everything to do with being proactive is in here. And then we have another book, our book 2 or module 2, which is called Be a Visionary. So we have 2 separate themes. And in here, we've then got the content to do with those particular themes. And when we open it up in book 1, what you'll see is a very similar to Brand B, or should I say inspired by Brand B. We've got the 12 Scholars motif. We've got the issue and a bit of the icons, and then we've got the photography, a bit of storytelling on the inside coming in, editor's letter, and then we've kind of meet the 12 Scholars with the contents, and then we get into it. And in here you'll see some of the interviews with the featured people, and you'll see the photography as we go through, plus the editorial. There's some wonderful shots in here. So very much inspired by Brand B, but putting our own slant on. Here we have got the second one, and again we've taken very same format, and it's about refining this now. So every book, it's just about honing it, refining it, and there we are. You'll see, hopefully you'll see again the photography and the editorial there. So that's all I wanted to kind of touch on today. It was a bit behind the scenes. It was from taking this concept and originally not knowing what it would look like, but just having the idea there, this kernel of idea to do with the definitive guide to personal development. And then stumbling across something that would actually be quite an inspirational and a premium product, and using that to inspire and help influence 12 Scholars. And what you'll actually see now is when you compare the two, they're pretty much the millimetre, exactly the same size. 240 by 170 is the dimensions of the page, the pagination there. So that's a bit about behind the scenes. I'm going to do quite a few more of these to try and explain the backstory, not just the print journal, but also about 12 Scholars, why the name. Unpack who is 12 Scholars, who are these 12 Scholars, and also explore kind of where we're going as well with the business. So thanks so much for just tuning in. These are going to be short, these are just going to be quite short videos. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you want any more information, plenty on the website 12scholars.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.